Senator Pakistan, 𝗟𝗟, the former Minister for Defense, Commerce, Foreign Affairs, Energy, and a whole host of things, 𝗟𝗏, and finally the former Foreign Minister, first female Foreign Minister, 𝗟𝗏. And I'm Bilawal Bhutto. As you're aware, following the 5-day war between India and Pakistan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan put together this delegation and gave us a mission. A mission to advocate for peace in the subcontinent and to engage the international community, all of whom played a role in the de-escalation and in the facilitation of the ceasefire, and then some countries played a role in the mediation of the ceasefire, to encourage them to continue to play the role so that we can achieve a permanent peace in South Asia. This, we believe, is the only way for us to address all issues. There's no military solution to the issue of Kashmir. There's no military solution to the issue of terrorism. There's no military solution to any of the problems that India and Pakistan have faced historically. As a result of this conflict, we've also keen to sound the alarm that there's a false sense of calm following this ceasefire. Those who are not aware of the details believe that the ceasefire is achieved, we're back to normal, and we're all safe now. Well, that's not the case. The reality is that we are all less safe today than we were at the start of this conflict. And the simple reason is that the threshold for full-blown war between two nuclear powers has been so drastically reduced that we've never been at this level in our history. As things stand today, if there's a terrorist attack anywhere, in India or India-occupied Kashmir, proof or no proof, that means war with Pakistan. In that situation, when we've just seen how quickly the escalation ladder rose just in 5 days, and at the conclusion of these 5 days, one of the final acts that India perpetrated was firing a BrahMos dual-use nuclear-capable missile into Pakistan. Now, in this particular case, that wasn't nuclear armed, but Pakistan has a very small window for us to decide, looking at an image, that this missile coming towards us that is capable of holding nuclear weapons, is it or is it not loaded? And how do we respond? The terms that both countries have set for the escalation ladder between ourselves is 1+. So whatever attack one side does to the other responds by +1. In a circumstance where the threshold of conflict has been so drastically lowered that any indigenous act of terrorism also would mean war with Pakistan. In a circumstance where the escalation ladder has so significantly increased, and just within the space of 5 days, what we're concerned about is that next time round the escalation ladder won't start from zero, it'll start from where we left off, and there may not be time for the international community to intervene and encourage a ceasefire. Finally, the weaponization of water. Pakistan and India have fought generation after generation over the issue of Kashmir, the unfinished agenda of partition, the pending issue of the UN Security Council. More recently, we fought over the issue of terrorism. Preceding this conflict, the Indian government announced that it was illegally violating the Indus Water Treaty and threatened to cut off the water supply for 240 million Pakistanis. Just the mere threat to cut off Pakistan's water is a violation of the UN Charter. This is our only source of water for our people to drink, for our agriculture and our agricultural economy to rely on. A threat to our water supply is an existential threat to Pakistan. It is a matter of our survival. It would provoke Pakistan, acting on this threat, would provoke Pakistan. We would consider it an act of war and have no choice. It is the absolute last thing we needed in the Himalayan region, which we refer to as the third pole. It's the largest collection of snow and ice anywhere in the world. This is the region where we should regionally be cooperating, internationally be cooperating to meet the challenge of climate change. Instead, we've set up a fault line and damned future generations of Pakistani and Indians to not only fight over Kashmir, to not only fight over terrorism, but now to, in perpetuity to fight over water. Laid the foundations for the first water war between two nuclear-armed powers. It is in this context that Pakistan seeks your assistance. We're particularly pleased to be here in the European Union because, of course, the European Union is a consistent advocate, the last line of defense for the rules-based order, for international law, a strong advocate for climate, for access to water, and you've witnessed war on your continent. We set up this international rules-based order to ensure that future generations we save from the scourge of war. Pakistan believes we need a comprehensive dialogue with India, one in which we can talk about the root causes, be it the root cause of Kashmir, be it the root cause of terrorism, and one where we can address the issue of water. India has said no, no, no every step of the way. Following the terrorist attack in Indian-occupied Kashmir, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif, publicly offered that Pakistan would be willing to be part of an international, impartial investigation into this terrorist attack. The Indians said no. Pakistan has always called for the United Nations, the UN Security Council, and that institution to be used to resolve our disputes, particularly Kashmir, which is on the agenda. It was taken to the United Nations by the Indian government. The Indians say no. Pakistan and the United States have spoken about mediation. The Indians say no. Pakistan has talked about bilateral comprehensive dialogue. The Indians say no. If we are to live in a world where we have reduced the threshold for conflict as drastically as we have, where we've increased the pace at which we rise on the escalation ladder in the manner that we have had, and if we are to be the only two nuclear states without any dispute resolution mechanism, the last dispute resolution mechanism we had is the Indus Water Treaty, and India says no to that too. I put it to you, it is not in the interest of the people of Pakistan, and indeed it is not in the interest of India, and it is not in the interest of the international community for us to maintain this status quo. There is a moral obligation for all international players to play their part, to encourage both sides to engage in a dialogue, to advance diplomacy. Diplomacy in the pursuit of peace should not be partisan. It should not be a partisan issue. The weaponization of water should not be a partisan issue. Peace cannot be a partisan issue. I look forward to answering all your questions. If you have a specific question for any member of my delegation, please refer to them. Otherwise, I'd be happy to respond.
Thank you, Excellency. For a comprehensive briefing. Now I would request my media fraternity if they have any questions, but please I would request that raise your hand and ask one by one so that the delegation and the Excellency could respond to that. Who want to?
Yeah.
Mr. Frank.
Sir.
Please give the mic to
Frank. I think I can hear you.
My name is Frank Schwalbe-Roth. I'm from Germany, and I'm one of the founders of the German Green Party, the first Green MP and the first Green member of the European Parliament. When I had less white hair, I had the honor to meet your mother already. Now it's grey, and I meet you. And Kashmir plays a certain role in my life, because by accident, Kashmiris contacted me when they opened the Kashmir office in Brussels. I come to my question, yeah, in a moment. It will be on India. And they said, Frank, you have such an experience and you're so nice. Please help us in Brussels. And for 8 years, I was special advisor to the Kashmir Center here in Brussels. We succeeded the question of mass graves, identification of dead people. We sent a delegation of members of parliament to Srinagar and to Muzaffarabad, resulting in a report from the most beautiful prison in the world.
Was this the delegation that the Indians didn't allow to enter?
No, they allowed. And we succeeded in Geneva when there was the human rights review process to have 182, I think it was, recommendations about China, what India should do better. This every 4-year report. And in this case, at that moment, I met Musharraf in your country. And I provoked him. I said, come on, no one understands you here in Brussels. Because even the king of Samoa was here, but never a president of Pakistan. He looked around and said, oh, yes, oh, apologies, it's true. And half a year later, he came. And we succeeded that in the European Parliament, nearly no one speaks of India as the largest democracy in the world. But we laid the ground that it is said India, the largest structural democracy, where the reality might be different. My question, after Trump, the EU looks all around the world for new friends, for new treaties with other parts of the world. One of the consequences is that we are flirting much more intensive with India. Therefore, my question, what do you think this means for Pakistan and for Kashmir, that the European Union, you say, you are wonderful, you're the last hope in a lot of fields. What does it mean for the conflict and for you? And then to make it difficult for you, because a lot of people here in Europe thought Polisario, you know, the conflict, the territory south of Morocco, where the European Union was always saying, it's not Morocco territory. And Spain, now France, have recognized the authority of Morocco over the Polisario territory. That means it is possible, if geopolitical reasons might force the EU to be more flirting with India, to change their attitude as well. And a last compliment to your staff and your embassy. I was here when the Iraqi Foreign Affairs Minister was here. He came with 3 journalists, I came with 2 assistants, and that was all. And this is a Saturday, and nevertheless, the room is full, therefore congratulations for your staff here in Brussels. But the question, now apologies for my long intervention, is what does it mean, the flirting European Union for India?
Thank you. I'd first like to say thank you for your question. Pakistan is confident in our relationship with the European Union, and we're absolutely not jealous for your flirting that is ongoing with India and others. Is absolutely right. In fact, we're counting on this engagement. We're counting on yours and other Western countries' close ties to India to be able to speak to them as a friend and explain to them that the corner in which they're painting not only their own country but their entire region is not a tenable situation. It does not leave the citizens of India any more safe. It does not leave certainly the citizens of Pakistan any more safe, or the people of the international community. It's all the more important that the European Union and other countries engage, speak to India as a friend and convince them that this is the only path forward. As far as the engagement that you've had with India, the economic engagement that you're looking to have in the region. There's, for example, even, we just came from the UK, they've signed a trade deal with the Indian government. Pakistan has, like we have GSP Plus with Europe, there's also an arrangement that we have for trade with the United Kingdom. The US is currently in trade talks, both with India and Pakistan. So if we just look at it from the economic angle, and your economic interests in an increasingly unpredictable economic climate, no matter how fantastic these trade deals will be, no matter how big and beautiful they may end up being bilaterally between the EU and India, the US and India, the UK and India,
100,000 specialists Pakistani. My question, your opinion about this prospect of this project, and second question, for big country, Pakistan with 250 million population, this project is very little, but for my country, it's very big project, and it will be big challenge. It will be interesting challenge, and maybe it will be danger challenge. I would like your opinion.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to state how encouraged we are by the positive ties between Pakistan and Belarus. We have economic cooperation that extends across many sectors, including agriculture, tech, and a whole host of other things. The issue that you bring up is also quite encouraging. We need to complement each other. Pakistan has different demographics, and Europe has different demographics. 65% of the population in Pakistan is under the age of 35. And the European demographics are a little bit on its head. You require young, skilled individuals to come here and service the needs of your economies. And we have to do this in a regulated, legal manner to fight the menace of illegal migration. So I believe exactly these programs where we coordinate, where we conduct ourselves through the legal framework, we find spaces where each other's economies can complement each other, that has the most potential for growth. What we're seeing is a demographic challenges in many parts of the world. We see it in the West, we even see it in the East. And Pakistan sees itself going forward as being able to export our human capital in order to meet the demand challenges that many countries with demographic challenges are facing. I hope that answers your question.
Andre, you want? Who will want?
Good morning, sir. Hadi Sayed, Communications Intern at Kashmir Council EU. This visit has strengthened Pakistan's image and helped raise the Kashmir issue. As future engagement, especially in Europe, would benefit from direct representation from Azad Jammu and Kashmir, what steps is your office taking to involve them more in diplomatic issues?
Oh, thank you so much. We've been engaged consistently, I mean, in general, with the government in Azad Kashmir. When I was foreign minister, they'd be represented at various forums, including the OIC, etc. As far as this delegation is concerned, obviously we are representing the government of Pakistan. But absolutely, as we go forward, and there'll be parliamentary delegations and other delegations, we will seek the support of the people of Azad Kashmir, the government, maybe not the government, but the parliamentary representatives in Azad Kashmir, to come and speak for themselves about the plight and the difficulties that they are facing.
Yeah.
Bilkul. Kashmiri descent from Pakistani side, so one member is sitting right here, but from Azad Kashmir, that will have to be going forward.
Mr. Imran from Bold Channel.
Imran Beg from Bold Channel. My question is, how do you encounter Indians delegations already visited in the EU? My main responses and result.
Kya? The Indian delegation has been also traveling the world, just as their war was based on disinformation and misinformation. Their diplomatic initiative has been based on disinformation and misinformation. They went to New York and tried to claim that Pakistan was a terrorist state. The United Nations, within the United Nations, Pakistan was immediately elected to head the committees responsible for looking at terrorism. They went to DC, adamant to convince America that they don't need mediation, they don't need dialogue, and again, Pakistan is an exporter or a perpetrator of terrorism. They were told then publicly recently by the president that Kashmir in India needs mediation. The State Department has mentioned mediation, and the Army of the United States says we're a phenomenal partner in terrorism. They've then come to the United Kingdom and the EU. They've set quite a high standard. If you recall, the Foreign Minister, the External Affairs Minister of India, got very, very angry when a certain other country dared to show the humanity of condoling with the civilian loss of lives on the Pakistani side. They used their economic clout to bully some countries to retract their statements condoling or condemning the deaths of the innocent civilians in Pakistan. But when they stand here with the EU Commissioner at the Foreign Minister level, and their Foreign Minister says that all of Pakistan is Terroristan, and then the EU Commissioner standing next to them continues to condole the loss of life on both sides, mentions the importance of international law. I believe that the Indian government or the Indian government's delegation and their foreign policy, not because of any particular weakness of their diplomatic corps or their foreign policy, but because of the weakness in their message. They're pushing a lie, they're pushing disinformation, they haven't been honest. They haven't been honest with their own people. They haven't been honest with their allies. They can't be honest about the planes that we shot down. They still to this day will not tell us who were the terrorists that were involved in the attack in Indian-occupied Kashmir. Surely one of the largest countries in the world with one of the most ambitious intelligence agencies in the world could at least identify these individuals who, according to them, crossed over from an international border, penetrated one of the most militarized borders in the world, and got so deep into their territory and conducted this massacre. They haven't been able to name them because that too, for whatever reason. And they've been unable to name a single terrorist that they supposedly targeted in these targeted operations within Pakistan. We can point to the civilian infrastructure, the schools, the dams that they attacked. We can show you the graves of the innocent civilians that they killed. But they cannot name one terrorist, either one that conducted the attack on their side or one that they targeted within Pakistan. If your campaign is going to be based on disinformation, if you're not going to be transparent, if you're not going to face credibility, then you will get the response that the US delegation has been, that the Indian delegation has been receiving internationally. If anyone has any climate-related questions, I have two very able climate experts on my left and right that I'm sure would be...
Sorry, if you permit, our correspondent from ARY, Nadeem Bhatt, wants to ask a question.
उर्दू में ही कर ले.
ठीक. जनाब चेयरमैन, आपकी क़यादत में पाकिस्तानी पार्लिमानी वफ़द इस वक्त ब्रसल्स में है. यूरोपीय यूनियन के साथ पाकिस्तान के ताल्लुकात हमेशा से अहम रहे हैं, ख़ास तौर पर जब बात दहशतगर्दी के ख़िलाफ़ पाकिस्तान की कुर्बानियों की हो. क्या आप समझते हैं कि यूरोपीय यूनियन को इन कुर्बानियों का मुनासिब जो है इदराक है, और क्या आप इस दौरे के दौरान मसला कश्मीर और गज़ा में जारी इंसानी हकूक़ की खिलाफ वर्जियाँ और ख़ित्ते में अमन और इस्तेहकाम के हवाले से कोई मस्बत पेशरफ्त हुई है? आप इस दौरे को पाकिस्तान के सफारती महाज पर किस नज़र से देखते हैं? थैंक यू वेरी मच.
जहाँ तक पाकिस्तान की कुर्बानियों की बात है, मैं समझता हूँ कि बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हम बार बार याद दिलवाएं. He's asking me, does the international community appreciate the sacrifice that Pakistan has given in this war on terror? So in my own answer, I'm emphasizing the importance of continuing to remind the international community that Pakistan was and still is the frontline state in the fight against terrorism. We have so far lost 92,000 lives in this fight. Still to this day, the single largest number of terrorist attacks anywhere in the world are in Pakistan. The single largest number of victims to terrorism anywhere in the world are in Pakistan. The terrorism that we face all over the world is a direct byproduct of the first Afghan war. After the second Afghan war, Pakistan has seen an exponential increase in the number of terrorist attacks on our soil. Currently, it is the bloodiest year in Pakistan's history when it comes to terrorism. It is not a question of do we want appreciation for sacrifice. We want cooperation, coordination to deal with these terrorists. Just because the international community up and left, it doesn't mean the issue of terrorism has ceased to exist in the region. We used to have all of NATO in our region fighting this menace. Now Pakistan stands alone. And we're being blamed for the actions of terrorist organizations. So it's very important that we're here to engage the international community, to continue our coordination and cooperation on this front. जहाँ तक गज़ा का, फ़लस्तीन का, ये सारे इश्यूज़ की बात है, ये हम मुसलसल उठाते रहे हैं. ख़ास तौर पे जहाँ यूनाइटेड नेशंस पे हमारा अपना मीटिंग में जो कि बुलाया गया था कश्मीर के हवाले से, उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में भी हमने एनी अदर एजेंडा आइटम के सूरत के नुक्ते में फ़लस्तीन का एम्बेसडर मौजूद था, उसने भी अपना बात की और हम सब ने उसका एंडोर्स किया. और हाल ही में जो ईरान और इसराइल के दरमियान जो जंग छेड़ा गया है, उस पे भी पूरा डेलीगेशन ने कल भी मज़ाहमत किया है, आज भी हम मज़ाहमत कर रहे हैं.
Hafiz Unib.
Sorry, with the permission of the chair. The delegation also enlightened the UN members and the US congressmen, senators, even in UK and here, that India has been acting like a rogue state. What they are doing in Kashmir, what they are doing to the Muslims, what they tried to do with the Muslims of Pakistan, and apart from that, my Sikh fellows sitting here, India has been on a transnational killing spree. They targeted one Sikh leader in Canada, attempted on another one in USA, and tried in Australia, as well as they have targeted many Pakistanis on Pakistani soil. So they have been acting like a rogue state, and the world must notice that, and I believe that world has noticed that.
We will have a last question from Hafiz Unib.
Unib Rashid, contributing for Jang and Geo from here. My question is, I'm in 60s, a born Pakistani, but in this context, I want to know from a young leader from Pakistan, India doesn't accept any mediation, and its approach to resolving issues is unilateral. Do you see a solution to the Kashmir issue in such a situation?
I believe that the people of India want peace. I believe that the decisions of the Indian government have left the Indian population less secure, not more secure. In that context, absolutely, India is sustaining and maintaining the policy of unilateralism, but I don't believe that policy can last. Ultimately, they will have to come talk to Pakistan. They can't wish us away. We will forever be their neighbor. We have joint challenges. The issue of climate change for the rest of the world is a different matter. For the people of the subcontinent, for India and Pakistan, this is the challenge of our generation. We will be unable to fight this menace alone. As you may be aware, Pakistan has already been declared the most climate-stressed country by Greenwatch this year. We were anyway amongst the 10 most climate-stressed countries, 10 most water-stressed countries. We're going to deal, just like the entire international community is rightly concerned about the melting of snow and ice in the poles. India and Pakistan need to be just as animated about the potential, the imminent melting of the largest collections of snow and ice and anywhere else outside of the South and North Pole is in the Himalayan region. We have to deal with what are we going to do? How are we going to save future generations for the consequences of this crisis? There's so many other issues. If we're going to continue to be unilateral about it, you can't unilaterally tackle climate change. You can't unilaterally threaten the water supply of an entire population and expect that to be a position you can sustain. India will have to come and talk. It's better that they come and talk sooner rather than allowing these issues to fester, to create more problems for the both of us, and then for us to come and talk when it's too little, too late. Let the climate minister.
Look, I think to its own peril what India has done is taken the right of all lower riparian countries of the world to have access to water. It's not just about Pakistan and India anymore. India has set a new rule that people who are living in the lower riparian, they don't have right to water. But we are not the only country which is lower riparian. First of all, India herself is a lower riparian country to another country. What if they choke them of their water? What about the rest of the world? What about the African countries? What about the Latin American countries? What about the European countries? Does now every upper riparian country has a right to choke the lower riparian countries of their food security, of their drinking water? So India herself has internationalized this issue. So now this issue is no more Indian and Pakistani. Now is the issue of 70% of the countries of the world which are lower riparian. And they will all have to rise, because if this precedent is set once for all, it doesn't just apply to Pakistan. Pakistan and India have a treaty. Most of the lower riparian countries have no treaties. So in the absence of that treaty, with this new rule that India, unilateral rule that India is setting, what is going to happen to the rest of the world? Not just us. So the entire world shall rise now. India herself, through its arrogance, through its hubris, has internationalized this issue.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
It's been a
Excellency.
pleasure engaging with all of you.
Thank you, Excellency, with your permission.
और सफारतकारी से ही मुमकिन है। सलामती काउंसिल में मसला कश्मीर पर बात की, कश्मीर के लिए आवाज़ उठाते रहेंगे। पाकिस्तान अमन का ख़्वाह है। पाक भारत कशीदगी के बाद वज़ीर आज़म ने वफ़द तश्कील दिया। जंग किसी मसले का हल नहीं, भारत पानी को बतौर हथियार इस्तेमाल कर रहा है। एटमी ताकतें होने के बावजूद पाकिस्तान भारत कशीदगी बढ़ी। पाकिस्तान जामे मुज़ाकरात पर यकीन रखता है। भारत ने हमेशा मुज़ाकरात से राह फ़रार इख्तियार की है। भारत की पानी बंद करने की धमकी पाकिस्तान को इश्तिआल दिलाने की कोशिश है। पहलगाम वाक़े पर भारत को गैर जानिबदार तहकीकात की पेशकश की। मुज़ाकरात नहीं होंगे तो कशीदगी में इजाफा होगा। हम अमन की बात करने आए हैं। भारत के साथ तमाम तनाज़ात मुज़ाकरात के ज़रिए हल करना चाहते हैं। भारत के साथ तनाज़े से पहले ख़ित्ता जितना महफूज था अब नहीं है। ईरान पर इसराइली जारहियत की मज़म्मत करते हैं। आलमी बरादरी इसराइल और ईरान जंग में अपना किरदार अदा करे। तीसरी आलमी जंग के मुतहम्मिल नहीं हो सकते। पार्लिमानी वफ़द के सरबराह और चेयरमैन पाकिस्तान पीपल्स पार्टी बिलावल भुट्टो जरदारी वफ़द के हमराह ब्रसल्स में न्यूज़ कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे थे। जंग किसी मसले का हल नहीं, कश्मीर समेत तमाम तस्फिया तलब मसाइल का हल मुज़ाकरात और सफारतकारी से ही मुमकिन है। भारत की पानी बंद करने की धमकी पाकिस्तान को इश्तिआल दिलाने की कोशिश है। पाकिस्तान जामे मुज़ाकरात पर यकीन रखता है। भारत हर बार मुज़ाकरात और बातचीत से